For those over 60, having a small serving of peanut butter prior to bedtime can introduce surprising overnight results. Imagine if a highly effective routine to support your sleep patterns, muscular recovery, glucose stability, and cardiovascular health was incredibly budget friendly and already stored in your pantry. We are looking at consuming a minimal quantity of unadulterated natural peanut butter in the evening. This does not involve a heavy meal, but simply 1 or 2 tablespoons roughly 30 to 60 minutes before resting. You might find this suggestion unexpected, as late night snacking is frequently discouraged. However, evaluating the research on how the body manages metabolic functions during rest past 60 makes this small habit highly logical. Throughout today's discussion, I will analyze what occurs internally when you incorporate this evening snack, tracing its impact on glucose pathways, sleep structures, muscular tissue repair, morning mental performance, and cardiovascular parameters. We will also outline the 3 ideal combinations to utilize and proper serving guidelines. Ensure you follow along because we will also explore an essential dietary mineral present in peanuts that many older adults fail to secure in adequate quantities, despite its broad role in sleep cycle regulation, muscle coordination, stress response, and regular heart rhythm. Standard clinical consults frequently overlook this link during routine checks of evening complaints. Before we cover these details, let us connect on your personal routines. What is your current age bracket, and do you experience light sleep or wake up depleted even after securing plenty of rest? Feel free to post your baseline observations down in our comments area. I systematically review all submissions. To analyze what occurs while you sleep, remember your physiology does not become completely inactive during rest. Instead, tissues enter a dynamic restoration cycle. Muscle groups reconstruct at cellular levels, neurological structures process metabolic clearances, and essential hormonal indicators stabilize for the coming hours. This natural physiological workflow recurs daily, irrespective of our conscious choices. Past 60, these pathways become less efficient, presenting observable changes in the morning. Physical growth factors drop during resting intervals, cellular muscular repair slows down, and nocturnal glucose curves display more instability than during younger decades. Practically speaking, this often shows up when you wake up suddenly around 2 or 3 in the morning without a direct explanation. Alternatively, your limbs feel uncoordinated or rigid following 8 horizontal rest hours, leaving your morning stamina low before you even consume hot beverages. Most individuals simply catalog these transitions as standard milestones of age, yet much of it links directly back to what specific raw elements your organs hold during resting cycles, variables you can actively manage. Let's look closely at nighttime glucose fluctuations, the hidden trigger pulling people awake in the early hours. Usually, references to blood glucose spark conversations about clinical diabetes, but suboptimal nocturnal stability challenges numerous adults over 60, regardless of official medical statuses. Analyze a common night. Dinner wraps up by 6 or 7 in the evening, but 5 hours later, circulating glucose drops. If these parameters sink too quickly, internal alarms initiate. Stress triggers like cortisol and adrenaline circulate to elevate raw systemic sugars, inadvertently pulling you out of restorative, deep sleep phases. These chemical triggers might not startle you awake entirely, but they introduce a light rest pattern where hours on a mattress feel ineffective. If you find these patterns relatable, note that a well-documented analysis in therapeutic sleep journals indicates adults past 50 handle much wider nighttime glucose shifts compared to younger individuals, directly altering the overall quality of deeper rest stages. Fortunately, this situation can be modified using straightforward habits. Natural nut butters occupy a low spot on glycemic scales, allowing them to release cellular energy gradually over extended periods without causing spikes and sharp crashes. Combining steady dietary protein, quality lipids, and minimal dense carbohydrates delivers the exact materials required to hold glycemic levels steady overnight. Studies highlighted by diabetic associations confirm that eating lower scale foods prior to sleep helps smooth out nighttime insulin demands for mature individuals. Consider it equivalent to placing a dense, slow burning fuel block inside a heating stove. It prevents explosive flares while sustaining a peaceful, comforting heat through dark hours. Furthermore, understand why full mattress intervals do not always match deep neurological rejuvenation. It is possible to spend abundant quiet hours resting, yet feel worn down upon standing up, primarily due to what molecular inputs the nervous system can leverage. Melatonin manages standard circadian clocks, but its assembly demands tryptophan, a specific precursor protein. This nutrient must reorganize into serotonin to support mental ease before translating into final melatonin sleep regulators. Breaks within this delicate biological sequence compromise your brain's ability to pull you down into deeper restorative phases. Peanuts naturally carry concentrated supplies of tryptophan. The oil layers in the paste are particularly helpful, as quality fats help ferry those active precursors across the blood-brain barrier smoothly. To state it plainly, lipid complexes hasten the passage of those soothing amino acids straight to their neural targets. Comparative analyses verify that specific healthy evening lipid exposures support correct organic melatonin cycles during senior age milestones. Therefore, having a spoonful of this natural food supplies critical precursors for standard neurological resting regulators, which is highly beneficial. Many individuals past 60 navigate an uncomfortable issue they seldom mention, feeling midnight stomach pangs or struggling to rest as their digestive systems alert them of low food stores. This reaction isn't a sign of mental weakness, it reflects actual endocrine shifts. During senior years, your levels of ghrelin, the marker promoting food seeking, rise more sharply, whereas leptin satiety triggers work less effectively. Misalignments across these regulatory lines consistently break up sleep phases. Nut butter counters this pathway in two clear ways. Initially, its direct protein concentration mitigates excessive ghrelin outputs, settling that background stimulus. Reviews in specialized digestive science reveal that taking limited high protein additions prior to resting curtails evening appetite elevations. Additionally, its high lipid density retards localized gastrointestinal transit, which maintains gentle physical comfort for longer periods, ensuring you feel adequately sated without being heavily overfilled. We will review appropriate dietary boundaries as we move forward. If this information helps clarify your patterns, please hit the like button today. It directly helps connect more senior peers to these physical insights. If you haven't done so, subscribe to our wellness network to track helpful tips regarding health and active aging. Feel free to detail your general physical habits or let us know if your struggles center on starting sleep initially or wakefulness during the middle of the night. Share your feedback in the discussion spaces below. Always remember that actual muscular regeneration takes place during sleep cycles rather than on training floors. Walk routes or ascending localized stair steps during your afternoon introduce minuscule tears within fiber systems that physical repair programs rebuild while you rest. The core challenge past 60 is that cellular protein updates become less responsive, a process classified as age-related anabolic resistance. Your frame no longer registers basic nutritional proteins as dynamically as historically possible. Consequently, targeting timing shifts takes on huge value, primarily allocating proteins right during active reconstruction windows. Peer clinical tests prove that scheduling targeted protein resources prior to sleeping markedly improves nighttime synthesis benchmarks within older demographics. Incorporating 2 tablespoons of clean nut paste supplies approximately 7 to 8 grams of valuable amino acids right when your muscles demand continuous baseline building components, establishing a direct improvement. If you cope with lingering physical uncoordination or skeletal stiffness upon initial morning movements, today's structural outline is incredibly valuable. That lingering sensory block so many seniors attribute as a regular aspect of aging typically stems from metabolic factors. If underskin glucose drops over sleep hours, causing the adrenal pathways to generate stress markers to adapt, elevated values persist as you wake. This puts your physical frame under minor tension metrics before you start daily activities, triggering standard head haze, sluggish starting routines, and localized depletion that lingers across hours. Compare that situation with a stable glucose alternative. Continuous nighttime sugars preserve relaxed hormones, physical repair workflows continue unhindered, and your mental processing opens entirely renewed. Published analyses in nutritional sciences determine that consistent sleep glucose represents a highly precise baseline determinant of clear starting focus in individuals beyond 55, proving more valuable than basic resting hours alone. Real resting benefits avoid pointing simply to length in bed. They reflect clean metabolic values throughout sleep. Now we must address our primary dietary highlight. Natural nut pastes carry far more than mere macronutrients. Providing approximately 49 milligrams of magnesium per 2 tablespoon portion represents an important contribution, since research tracks significant undersupply indices regarding this mineral in adults past 60. Magnesium deserves its moniker as a core relaxer because it supports parasympathetic neurological tracts that settle physical structures, lower vascular pulses, and align rest preparations. Simultaneously, it coordinates GABA activity, dampening active neurological static to ease start times and sleep preservation cycles. Muted levels of this mineral link extensively with fitful sleep patterns, evening physical cramps, poor rest scores, and cardiovascular rate anomalies over time. If you face sudden nightly limb twinges or startle awake experiencing inconsistent chest flutters, poor trace mineral levels often play a primary contributing role. The beneficial monounsaturated oils inside peanuts, mimicking structures present in virgin olives and whole avocados, bolster health by suppressing systematic minor swelling during sleep hours. Sustained tissue swellings stand as primary elements prompting waking limb limits or overall focus drains. This minimal dietary tool delivers the necessary elements to steady cellular recovery, clear muscle building blocks, and balance neurological tension inside identical periods. Many individuals remain apprehensive regarding nighttime weight concerns. Traditional assumptions view all post-sunset foods as active causes of tissue expansion, though data suggests far more customized explanations. Primary rules outline looking at macronutrient groupings alongside total lifestyle food totals. Choosing high sugar combinations indeed fosters adiposity, whereas protein lipid selections tell a separate physical story. Specialized university projects prove that taking limited protein snacks under 150 calories enhances natural active cellular burn scores without encouraging tissue accumulation in normal targets. Consider the process. If sleep proceeds with plunging systemic glucose, natural sensors register starvation cues, retarding resting base expenditures to maintain reserve fat. If you feed the cells steady inputs instead, repair engines consume energy consistently overnight, which helps rather than limits seniors managing wellness patterns. For majorities, keeping our heart robust is highly personal, especially if checkups highlight cardiovascular indicators. Nut oils concentrate helpful complex fats that optimize high-density lipid counts while reducing other metrics safely. Extended research databases observe a clear link between regular consumption of nut paste selections and minimized risk levels concerning major acute blood flow complications over age 50. An interesting overnight interaction warrants attention. Systemic physical pressure is built to descend during sleep hours, yet countless aging targets present deficient dipping indices. When clinical partners register flat blood pressure profiles across dark hours, the pattern indicates distinct vascular liabilities. Data connects consistent sleep glucose levels alongside stable adrenal stress values with natural vascular resting dip trajectories, suggesting minor unrefined servings help defend cardiorespiratory boundaries continuously as you sleep. Let's review the 3 ideal combinations to consume it, as coordinating selections improves physiological efficacy further. Initially, pair it alongside fresh bananas as they furnish valuable potassium and magnesium inputs that offset cramping and align vascular relaxation, paired alongside trace proteins that enhance restorative tracts. Working combined, they stabilize a uniform energy curve overnight. Slicing half a banana with 1 single tablespoon is completely adequate. Our second arrangement places the paste onto complex grain bread. Sprouted grains provide long processing, complex starches that benefit our internal flora while maintaining clean insulin baselines and standard sleep regulating tracks overnight. This serves exceptionally well if your resting phases frequently break under early food cues or for dynamic candidates needing energy buffers. Single dry slices combined with up to 2 spoonfuls works perfectly. The third setup utilizes sliced raw apples, an exceptional routine if monitoring weight bounds. They're pecked in layers, smooth incoming sugars naturally to prevent any sharp glucose rises entirely. Balancing half an apple with a modest tablespoon of peanut paste remains remarkably light and functionally logical. Rotating options ensures your nighttime regimen stays enjoyable. Make sure to evaluate market labeling because quality determines metabolic behavior. Broad retail variants pack industrial sugars and emulsified or treated fats, directly undermining our cardiovascular targets. Skip selections displaying hydrogenated fats within current ingredient lists. Standard raw variants should consist only of whole peanuts, occasionally joining small sea mineral levels. Observing natural oil separations tells us we are managing clean food variables. Verify reverse ingredients lists rather than visual graphic descriptions. Alternatively, raw almond options deliver parallel properties along slightly higher trace minerals, while ground sunflower seeds support targets managing nut allergies safely. Naturally, these nightly routines warrant tailored limits since people process foods uniquely. If you hold verified peanut hyperreactivity, select a non-nut alternate instead. Additionally, when managing chronic acid irritation, having dense fats late might disrupt tissue patterns. Starting with negligible measurements preserves gastrointestinal margins. When navigating clinical metabolic treatments, combining sleep snacks demands specific changes in blood schedules that require specialized clearance. Also, if strictly tracing tight energy input boundaries, evening portions must match overall tracking guidelines precisely. These habits are highly supportive across clear adult systems, yet your doctor remains the ideal reference for personal diagnostics. The best timing and quantity involves utilizing 1 to 2 teaspoons of natural nut paste roughly 30 to 60 minutes before sleeping. That scale introduces roughly 90 to 190 calories, stabilizing vital curves while ensuring useful trace elements without disrupting stomach spaces. If managing a fruit slice setup, keep limits strictly around a tablespoon. Consuming the unrefined option independently allows 2 tablespoons. Skip taking the portion directly inside mattress frames, allowing at least 30 processing minutes prior to sleeping. Developing regular rhythms remains crucial. Utilizing these patterns 4 or 5 nights weekly over some months represents how visible changes like uninterrupted rest and waking dexterity emerge. Lastly, let us emphasize clear safety protocols. These details serve solely for basic supportive education and never replace direct prescriptions. Your wellness is crucial. Consequently, if you handle long-standing systemic checks or trace key cardiovascular or kidney lines, consult direct checkup specialists prior to modifying schedules. Your clinical practitioner manages your unique records better than digital video sources can, and addressing targeted health alterations collaboratively represents your safest plan. Let us summarize today's details. Natural evening servings balance glucose scales, preserving relaxed adrenaline states to encourage uninterrupted physical healing phases. This simple protocol reinforces melatonin assembly via healthy lipid bridges and trace components. Satiety parameters damp down midnight appetite surges cleanly, delivering critical material networks that fight physical deterioration challenges in older adults. Regulating dark metabolic drops shields your frame from sudden morning stress rushes, restoring your early mental clarity levels perfectly. Furthermore, its essential minerals settle sensory areas and vascular spasms smoothly, while monounsaturated elements reduce silent general inflammation to sustain healthier systemic balances. Strive to utilize 1 to 2 tablespoons in the final hours, several evenings a week, using verified scientific paradigms. Your physical frame performs marvelous supportive tasks daily, and delivering beneficial resources supports those mechanisms cleanly. Identifying why a protocol supports you changes patterns for good, and keeping up the habits leads directly to your results. Give today's broadcast your support to reach other mature individuals tracking rest modifications. Subscribe to our networks to follow our direct tips, tracking the active lifestyle you deserve.